Welcome back to the Scorcher.takes podcast. Today, we've got a bit of a different one. Me and Max went to Pink Floyd live at Pompei yesterday in the cinema, and we're just going to give you our thoughts on it. Because I know for a lot of Floyd fans, this is just like Max is getting his usual beverage
I'll let
ready.
you do your intro, then I've got something to say.
Okay. So for a lot of Floyd fans, this is just like a newer version. They've already seen the DVD and stuff. But for me and Max, we've actually never seen it before. So I was really excited with Pink Floyd being one of my favourite bands of all time. Like, I was excited to say the least. So that kind of gave a different perspective on it, because we're going to be talking about moments that we liked as well, which other Floyd fans may have already seen and maybe used to now. But at least you can see it in very good quality. And that's the first thing that I'd like to say.
Quality.
The quality was insane. Yeah. But what would you like to say?
I was just going to say, I mean, old Jamaica, obviously you're watching. I do want the sponsorship and a deal, and I'd be like on an advert or something, but this packaging needs sorting out. The old can was absolutely legendary. This isn't good enough. I've got the extra fiery today, so I'll probably be burping more.
More?
Yeah.
More than usual?
Or maybe not more, but it's going to hurt more, because this is a spicy one. But do you think that's such an ugly can, considering how cool it used to be?
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
But yeah, Pink Floyd.
Should we nearly have to change the video title then? Yeah.
Discussing Pink Floyd and old Jamaica Ginger Beer.
Yeah. First of all, like I was saying, the quality
Yeah, definitely.
is insane. And we got it front row at the cinema, and it was so immersive because we were literally right there and we had reclining seats. So it was like we were in Pompei with the band.
We were so close to the front that I assume you were probably the same. We both have eyes. My entire field of vision was just that. So when it was a little bit scary at times, you know, like when there was like the interview sections with like some of the band members and stuff.
Yeah.
David Gilmour was here.
Yeah, I know.
I could see every pore, every hair.
All the tobacco stains on his teeth, like literally everything.
No, Richard Wright's worse. He's got, they get the brown stripe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably cancer.
Well, David Gilmour's doing all right, but not the same for Richard Wright.
Nope.
Rest in peace. Because Richard Wright, genuinely,
God of...
I think he was my favourite member in the whole set.
Nick Mason's mine.
Yeah, valid, especially for one of these days, which I'll let you get onto in a minute. But I'll just say, Richard Wright on the Hammond organ, incredible. But it was when he had his solo, life-changing. And we were sort of saying, like, we genuinely felt like we were tripping. We tried to walk home afterwards.
We weren't on drugs.
No.
However, I've never had that much of had something and change my brain so much that isn't a chemical substance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like we were just there. You said you were like drifting in and out of these like sleepy
I was kind of sleepy because I travelled back from London the day before. So I was like when it was so comfy. That was the only problem with how good the chairs were.
Yeah.
I kept like drifting off a little bit at the wrong times. Beginning of Echoes Part 2 with the screams, genuinely terrifying, because I was like
because as much as I was watching as well, there were times where I just wanted to close my eyes and like vibe out to it, especially the funk jam section on Echoes. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm liking this a lot. One bit that you couldn't go to sleep to, though. In fact, there was a couple of bits.
Quite a few.
Yeah. One that I have to talk about because, again, this is my first time seeing it. Roger Waters' death scream in Careful with That Axe, Eugene. Ooh. How do you scream like that for a start? You sound like an eagle. Not a bad effort.
It was that, but like... Sorry, I don't
have to keep screaming.
I got stuck in the scream. It was that, but for like... He did that.
And then he does it again.
Multiple times, but each one was like 30 seconds at least. And there was volcanoes exploding at the same time.
I love that.
Was that one of the points where I was just sat and I looked over and was like...
Probably.
Was it that where I went...
I don't remember.
Oh, no. Was it... Eugene... Yeah, it was that where it went to the really weird bit where... Richard Wright starts smashing the piano with his full forearm.
That's a Saucer Full of Secrets, that one. That's what I was going to get onto. That was
Saucer Full of Secrets, yeah. And I just looked and I went, this doesn't have much replay value.
Yeah, I know. But what I would say as well is obviously Saucer Full of Secrets on there. you're only going to listen to it in the context of if you're listening to this and you're probably going to have your headphones on. This is not one to play in the uni accommodation. I love bringing that up. But having that blasting on your speaker, people are like, what the fuck is he doing?
complaining.
What the fuck is he doing in there? Because it is a racket. But like when you're there, you've got the visuals. You still get sucked into it, even though it should be the most sort of like putting off, like much of a put off as it sounds. You are kind of like, yeah, but I'm there. I'm sucked in. But like, if you're going to listen to it, it's really immersive. But yeah, what my original point was, is some of these songs, with them being one of my favourite bands, I'm not much of a fan of the earlier stuff, sort of Meddle and before. Obviously, you've got like Echoes and One of These Days in here, in Live at Pompeii. But there are a lot of songs that I'm not a big fan of. However, in the context of this, and I think it's the visuals as well, helped with the sort of, because it's more traditional psychedelic rock, some of this stuff.
Definitely.
It really helped bring it to life. And I thought these versions were much better than the studio recordings, personally.
100% agree, especially with The Source Full of Secrets.
Yeah. Because like that, like I'm just like, bro, I'm not trying to listen to this. But when you've got it with the visuals and sort of now in the context of, I actually understand the vision a bit more now. It has grown on me.
My thing that I was feeling while watching it, I felt like I was watching a ritual.
Yeah.
It's that kind of ancient setting, especially in the fact that it's really spooky. There is ancient themes. It's very mysterious. It's very magic. It's otherworldly.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible.
It was really good. One of these days, you got to talk about it. Your favourite moment.
I have like, I'm getting my drumsticks.
He's getting his drumsticks. They're all the way over here. You should have prepped for this better. I wish you guys could see him on camera right now. He's like did a terrible rendition of Spider-Man.
Nick Mason has the best drumming style I've ever seen. On One of These Days, it's so simple, but it's when he crashes in, he goes, and it's all the way up there, bam,
and then bam, and then it's the drum fill where he goes and does like high knees but with his arms,
and the drum fill where he drops his stick and he picks one up and goes boom, boom, boom,
insane. I know the high knees one's my favourite, where his arms are literally up here. Obviously, I don't have the sticks. Right, here we go.
I'll give you one.
Here we go.
Send them over.
Let's get the stick. This is a dynamic episode. There we go. Right,
we need props more.
Yeah, we're going to push the mic back. He goes in, he takes a deep breath. I hope this is still picking up. He goes,
it is.
I just lost my headset. And he probably would have been the moment for that as well.
Yeah. And he's got the best facial. What's that kind of moustache called? Where it goes like off you there and then it's like down at your chin.
I'm not the one to talk about facial hair. So
I might do it anyway. Let me know if you want me to recreate.
Yeah. Insane. And it's when he's doing his like on the cymbal, he goes like round and hits it. Insane. And also even just the way he plays the snare like this at times.
Yeah.
Incredible performance.
And he also does a halftime where he does like a boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, really underrated
and so funny. One of the things that I'm sure you will have seen the clips of like stuff coming out. One of These Days was like the first thing that was released. So like I've watched it many times, which is why I loved it so much because it was great to finally be there and have Nick Mason there in front of me. But where was I going?
I don't know. You were about the interviews.
It was so the stuff in between. There was stuff recorded at Abbey Road and stuff. And the first thing we see is after Echoes Part 1. Spoilers if you've not already seen it. Hopefully you have. It goes from an absolute masterful performance, and then it's just Nick Mason comes on screen and he goes, right there, he goes, beans, egg, sausage, and a tea. And then that's just the transition into them just sat around the table arguing. Yeah. And then he gets annoyed because he don't want the corners of the pie.
And then he don't want the circular pie as well. It was very funny. Them interviews as well, just the bit where David Gilmour's like, I can't remember the quote exactly, but he's like, oh, we're not a band that does drugs. You can trust us. And that got a few laughs in the cinema, which was good as well, because it was quite funny.
A few chicken jockeys.
Oh, terrible. But yeah, really, really good. I wish I could see it again, because I don't feel like I've got enough out of it.
I'm going to get it on vinyl.
Yeah, but I want to see it again.
Yeah, I know.
I hope there is a visual, like...
maybe we'll have to start reinvesting in DVDs.
Yeah. The original DVD...
Oh, wait, they might like put it on like Prime or something.
Potentially. I don't know. We'll have to see. That might have already been spoken about. I'm not I've not been in the loop enough as I should have been on this.
Yeah.
But I really hope there is a restored visual edition this time, because what you might not realize as well is in the original there was a lot of sort of dated 70s style graphics and visuals and stuff that are really sort of dated now, and they took them out, which I thought was quite good for this more pristine look.
I've seen clips from the DVD.
Yeah.
I watched it all the way through.
So I thought that was a good change that they made in that regard.
The main thing for me was the difference in looking at the footage of this version and what year is it? The DVD, 2011.
Well, no, there's multiple different editions.
Oh,
so
right.
originally,
That was the last one, though. I might be completely making that up.
There was a 2016 mix was the last one.
On the footage I've seen it before, it overall, like, the hue is very kind of blue and cold.
Yes, no, you are right. That is
Whereas
the 2011 or 2012 DVD, you are right, yes.
You know, like, in, like, Bond films where they go to Mexico and everything's orange?
Yeah.
That was what it was like.
Yeah. So I think overall, in terms of quality and the sound as well, because now you've got the quadraphonic spatial audio as well in the cinema, which was really cool because it allowed you had these like panning synthesizers and stuff, especially like on something like On the Run, when they were recording that in Abbey Road, and you had the, like I love to talk about the Doppler effect with the rushing sounds, but when you get that in the cinema with such high quality in the spatial audio, and it's just like rushing from one side to another, that was really cool, as well as many other moments throughout the set, with these sort of like descending synth arpeggios from Richard Wright, and they're just like twinkling.
I found the stuff when they're talking about the technology very interesting. Roger Waters and David Gilmour particularly talked quite a lot about it, and it was one of the Gilmour interviews where at first it showed Roger Waters doing On the Run. It showed him doing that, and then it was talking to David Gilmour about technology, and he was saying like, "Oh, people are worried that the technology is going to take over and everything." And then it says that you have to remember that it's tools. It's just like an instrument. If there's no brain, then it can't make anything itself. And it got me thinking about AI.
Did it?
Yeah, it did. Because do you think maybe one day? Do you think they maybe saw technology like AI, like, oh, it's too advanced for us? Maybe it could like overtake. But then
because I think that the point that they made, I sort of get the link that you're saying. I think that what they were trying to say though is that like, they don't want to be controlled by the technology. They want to have the control. Yes. And David Gilmour's words were, it's an extension of what's in the mind.
Yes, that was the words.
Whereas AI, I don't think that it seems too advanced, but it's just not an extension of the mind because it's not human.
Yeah.
Whereas at least technology is something that humans can control and play around with. It's like a bit more of a toy. Whereas AI is this just like other body. Well, it's not even a body.
Could you debate though that AI is an extension of the mind? Because as much as in some ways, because a lot of it's an idea that you can only make that by using. You can have an idea, but you can only create it using this technology. It's the same thing. I'm not in any way justifying that you should have AI music.
I know you're not a supporter of AI, but I think it's a good question.
It just got me thinking.
I like you playing devil's advocate. That's fair enough. I think AI. It depends how AI is used, but the AI element of it cannot be human or replicate human quality or art creation in any way. AI cannot replicate that. However, for example, one thing that I find really creative with AI, JPEG Mafia, as much as this doesn't really fit into the Pink Floyd conversation, he used a sample recently, which was an AI remix, a soul remix of Turn On the Lights by Future Fred again. Stuff like that where JPEG is still doing the sample chops, he's using the production and stuff, and then he's then rapping on it. It's something like that. However, I think that's fine, but you could also, if you wanted to do it, get a soul band to do the cover as humans, and it would have more humane quality.
That is true.
I think in a hip hop sense, when it is sort of the sample. Actually, no, I disagree. I'm not even going to make that point. I think it is really important where the sample comes from and what that means and how that adds a level of significance. I don't think JPEG's in the wrong for using that because I think it was still had enough humane creativity behind it. Yeah. But I think...
And it's funny and it's JPEG.
Yeah. But I think if we go in more general terms, I don't think that AI is just too advanced for us to understand. I think the danger is very real.
Yeah.
And I think you'd probably do agree, but maybe...
No, I do agree. It just got me thinking because I was thinking maybe they saw it the same, but then obviously now we don't think of technology as a dangerous thing in that sense.
Well, a lot of people were scared about like auto-tune when that came around. However, though, it's still human.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that...
Well, I don't know about auto-tune to extents. There's levels.
It is this human...
Conversation for another time.
I know, but it is still human singing.
Yeah.
Using technology as an enhancement and have artistic effects. A lot of artists don't necessarily use autotune because they need it. It's for artistic value, and often to create quite more like psychedelic like soundscapes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but AI. My only thing with AI is it's not human at all. It's just AI.
No. The difference is though that with the psychedelic and whatever, that's more achievable through vocal effects. You can have these vocal effects that have different creatively driven, but auto tune isn't about like changing like vocal effects. That just keeps your voice in tune and makes it less human because there's less mistakes.
Yes, but a lot of artists, especially like in electronic music and like modern day hip hop, especially in like trap and stuff.
Yeah, when they do really over the top.
No, it's to add. Yeah, but no, I think like someone like Travis Scott, for example, is the master of utilizing autotune, and his music would not be anywhere near as psychedelic if it didn't perfectly sweep through these. Like the perfect, sort of like the perfect production. I just said, but like the perfect production. Anyway, it is a conversation for another day. I do see maybe your link. It is maybe sort of like because it's early days with a technological advancement. How might this advance in the future? I just think back then, obviously, technology was nowhere near as developed as it is nowadays. I think that the dangers of AI are a lot more real than the dangers of technology were back then, because at least it was humans still had control of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great experience.
If you've seen it, let us know what you thought, because I have a feeling that no one's going to be like, was disappointed.
Yeah, and also if you'd seen the DVD edition before, let us know if you thought that this mix was good, and if the restored quality was something you wanted to see, or if you missed the 70s visual effects, because sometimes it was a little bit more trippy. I just think it's a little bit outdated. But yeah, let us know what you think. We'd be excited to hear. And follow all our socials as well. The link is in our bio in the link tree. So yeah, see you soon.